Not all health fads are created equal. Hi, I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. And today's post is brought to you courtesy of something my sister posted on Instagram today, or sometime within the last 24 hours. It was on her story. And the only sentence I heard, the only sentence I needed to hear, was a woman holding up a bottle of an empty bottle. The bottle was purported to be a portable water hydration generator. Already just a string of words. The string of words just itself mean nothing. But she went on to explain the usage of it. And I kid you not, the first thing out of her mouth was, water is not hydrated. Absorb that for a moment. Water is not hydrated. Okay, that's nonsense. And so she corrected herself. Good for her. The problem was she corrected herself into even more of a corner. And the way she corrected herself into that corner was thusly. There is no hydrogen in water. Okay. So she was wrong. She corrected herself. But she corrected herself by doubling down on how wrong she was. Let's start with some basic chemistry. That's literally all I know. Basic chemistry. A water molecule is referred to as H2O. If you were to break down the elements of water, it would be two H's and one O, hence the name H2O. What does the H stand for, ladies and gentlemen, if one were to go to the periodic table of the elements? Again, you go ahead, go look. I'll spoil it for you. H stands for hydrogen. It stands for hydrogen. There is, in fact, a good deal of hydrogen in water. Quite a bit. In fact, for every one molecule of oxygen that's in water, there are two hydrogen. One might say it is 2/3. Not quite. The oxygen and the hydrogen are different sized molecules, but there's a lot of hydrogen in water. Rest assured, your water is properly hydrogenated, not hydrogenated. Hydrogenated oil is like bad for you. That's a different story. Anyways, when you hear a health fad on the internet, particularly on the internet, TV is the same thing, but most people consume content through the internet these days, hence why I'm doing a podcast and not a TV show. I would love to do a TV show, though. Could somebody hire me, please? The reason that when you look at stuff like this, the reason that you have to be careful of these health fads is because all of these products sort of prey on the fact that most people do not have a doctorate level of understanding in chemistry, biology, medical science, that kind of thing. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that somebody who is not, say, somebody who's not a licensed doctor shouldn't practice medicine, but they may know a great deal about medicine. You can do continuous study on the academic side of medicine, for example. I wouldn't trust that person to perform a surgery, certainly. No, surgeons should perform surgery. But when it comes to things like nutrition is an academic field that you can study. There are academic papers that are put out about it. And so long as you are continuously reading into peer-reviewed articles and you have the educational background to actually understand those peer-reviewed articles, it's not a fait accompli. I pronounced that horribly, but it just simply means, that, it's set in stone. It's not set in stone that you're a failure at that. You're not a quack just because you don't specifically practice medicine, or specifically rather practice in the field of, say, traditional modern medicine. There's plenty of holistic and homeopathic doctors out there who bring a lot of value to people. And certainly, whatever you find value in, go for it. It's your money, spend it how you will. But something like hydrogen generation for water is something that you should look at with a somewhat skeptical eye. at least because the main proponent of hydrogen, the main benefit to it would be adding hydrogen to water. Water is replete with hydrogen. It is saturated with hydrogen. There is so much hydrogen in water. This is where it comes in that while you can't have master's degrees in every single academic field, it's important to have a lot of good general knowledge. This is where the benefit of like liberal arts training comes from. This is why in high schools we really try to drive home a generalized education that covers a lot of bases. It should include tax preparation, but that's a topic for another day. That generalized base of education, math, science, I'm not going to say engineering. It's math, science, history, English. The basics covers a lot of territory and really covers a lot of territory and helps you stay away from a lot of BS. For example, adding hydrogen to your water. It's already there. Don't worry about it. I cannot emphasize this point enough. But that's just one egregious example of an entire marketplace on social media that is designed to trick you out of your hard-earned money. And at extraordinary prices, these things can run $150 and above a pop and require $80 to $100 refills. It ends up being a lot of wasted money for something that at best is a placebo effect. The placebo effect, for those of you who don't know, is simply something that has no scientific effect on you other than to make you feel better simply because you think it's making you feel better. And certainly there's a benefit to that. Doctors use placebo effects in controlled studies to help them determine what is and is not working when something goes to market. And a placebo effect, quite honestly, can be very useful for somebody who really doesn't have anything wrong with them but needs a solution. But 99% of people don't have the issues that people are trying to solve. Half of sales, and this goes back to the snake oil salesmen of like the 30s and 40s, half of sales is convincing people that they have a problem that only you can solve for them. And that's where, again, that generalized education comes in, so that you can be reasonably skeptical about somebody walking in and saying, hey, I'm going to solve this problem for you. I don't have a problem. The reason people fall into these traps is because we all have a lot of problems today. It's not good out there, right? Like you've got our food is not good. Our air is not necessarily good. Our water, we're not sure if it's good. If you're in Flint, Michigan, you know it's not good. All of the things that people sell that are actually just nonsense in a world where we have all this information about all the things that are going wrong with everything, everywhere, all at once, all of these things sound like they could also be reasonable. But a lot of that has to do with the fact that we've fallen away from a lot of that kind of just broad education on the important topics. So if you don't have that broad education right now, the good news is you can get it. Google and all of those places, as weird as those corporations are, they all have a bunch of resources that you can use to educate yourself in such a way that you can be correctly skeptical of things, like putting hydrogen into your water. I beg you don't spend money on that or on any other health fad unless you do the research yourself and find that there is in fact a problem that you need a solution to. And if you have that problem, try a bunch of different solutions, and I guarantee you there's going to be a solution that's going to be much more cost effective. And if there's not a solution that's more cost effective, you do have a serious problem, and at that point you probably should consult a medical doctor. If you are trying to solve a medical issue with something you buy off the internet, I guarantee you're going to have a bad time every time. And for the love of God, there's nothing in your life that requires hydrogen in your water. Your water has plenty of hydrogen. Just don't even worry about that. Don't buy that product. I'm out of time. Thank you for listening to me rant, rave, and ramble. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe. If you didn't enjoy it, don't subscribe then. I can't stop you, but I'm glad you stuck around long enough to hear me say like and subscribe. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody who subscribes. I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. Have a great day.